Hi everyone, and welcome back for Chapter 3 of Theodore Boone, The Scandal by John Grisham. I'm going to jump right in. Chapter 3. When the last bell rang, Theo grabbed his backpack and fled the school. He jumped on his bike and raced away. 10 minutes later, he slid to a stop in front of Boone and Boone, a two-story office in what was once a family residence on Park Street. He pushed his bike up the front sidewalk and parked it on the porch. He took a deep breath and walked inside, where he was immediately assaulted by Elsa, the law firm's ancient secretary and receptionist. She also considered herself to be Theo's second mother. When she saw him, she gushed, "Well, hello, Theo," and jumped from her chair to grab him. She hugged him tightly, then pushed back, looking at his attire, and said, "Didn't you wear that shirt last Friday?" "I did not." He found it so irritating to be examined daily by Elsa. He was 13. He didn't care what he wore. Why should she? "How was your day?" she said, pinching a cheek. "Awful. Just awful. And it only gets worse tomorrow." Now, Theo, just think of all the unlucky kids around the world who don't have nice schools and good teachers and healthy lunches. You should always count your blessings. And, I know, Theo said, stepping back. He got so tired of these little lectures. "What's in the kitchen?" He was always starving by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was always something to snack on in the firm's kitchen. Judge finally got up from his bed under Elsa's desk, one of his many resting places throughout the offices, and walked over to say hello. Theo rubbed his head. What a life. "I think Dorothy brought some brownies," Elsa said. "Not those little peanut butter things. They taste like cardboard." Not even Judge would touch Dorothy's brownies. "Now, Theo," Elsa said, already losing interest and eager to get back to work. Elsa was skinny and had no appetite, and she liked to show off her thinness by wearing all manner of tight pants and sweaters. Mrs. Boone said that Elsa wore things that only she could get by with because she was at least 70 years old. "Is my mother in?" he asked. "Yes, but she's with a client. I need to book an appointment with her." "Theo, you don't have to make an appointment to see your mother." "It's not for me, Elsa, but for a friend. I'm not getting a divorce yet." Elsa glanced at a large calendar in the center of her desk. It was her daily planner, a terribly important sheet of paper, because it kept track of everything from meetings with clients and court appointments to vacations and Theo's visits to the orthodontist. "She's free at 4:30. "Thanks," Theo said. "If a guy named Pete Holland calls, let me talk to him." Theo bounded up the stairs to the second floor, the domain of his father. As usual, Mr. Boone was sitting behind his large, cluttered desk, pipe in his mouth, tie pulled loose, with the look of a man who'd been plowing through paperwork for days. He smiled and said, "Hello, Theo. A good day at school?" Theo fell into a chair and Judge sat beside him. "Just awful, Dad. Terrible. I'm sick of school." "Well, dropping out is not an option. I suggest you stop the whining and get tough. These tests are important, and you need to do well." "Thanks for nothing, Dad." They talked for a few minutes until the phone rang. Mr. Boone reached for it and said, "Now shove off and go do your homework." Perhaps the only good thing about the week was that there would be no homework. Theo went downstairs, rummaged through the refrigerator, found nothing but some stale donuts, and eventually wandered back to his small office where he killed some time. Bored, he was soon sleepy, so he put his feet on the desk, kicked back in his chair, and was about to doze off when his mother tapped on the door and stepped in. "Hello, Theo. Elsa said you needed to see me?" "Sure, Mom. There's a kid at school who needs your help." "What's the problem?" "It's a long story, but the kid and his mother might be in danger." "Let's go to my office and talk." It was almost 5 p.m. when Pete Holland arrived with his mother and 2 younger sisters. The little girls were wide-eyed and seemed too frightened to speak. Pete, at 13, was trying to be the man of the family, but he too was overwhelmed. His mother, Carrie, had a swollen eye and a cut on her upper lip. She looked like she'd been crying for hours, and began again as soon as Mrs. Boone introduced herself and said she could help. She led Carrie into her office and closed the door. Theo pointed to the conference room and said, "Let's wait in here." Pete and his sisters followed Theo while Elsa hurried to the kitchen. She returned with the same stale donuts and some soft drinks. Even Judge seemed concerned and allowed the girls to rub his head. Pete said, "My dad got out of jail this afternoon and he's looking for us. My mom's really scared and doesn't know what to do." Sharon, the 10-year-old, finally spoke up and said, "Mom says we can't go home." Sally, the 7-year-old, chewed on a donut and looked at Theo as if he had two heads. "What are we going to do?" Sharon asked, as if Theo had all the answers. Elsa, who had been through similar dramas, said, "Mrs. Boone will know what to do. Right now, let's just have a chat and talk about school. Did you bring your backpacks? Maybe we could do some homework." They shook their heads. No backpacks. Since it was Monday, Theo called his Uncle Ike and said he couldn't make their usual Monday meeting. He promised to stop by later in the week. Mr. Boone stopped by to say goodbye and quickly realized that perhaps he should hang around for a while. He took off his coat, sat at the table, and began convincing Sally that she should chat with him. In spite of the law firm's efforts to comfort the children, the mood was still awkward, even tense. Their mother was talking to a lawyer, and their lives were unsettled. After an hour, the door to Mrs. Boone's office opened. She and Mrs. Holland walked out and entered the conference room. Mr. Boone introduced himself properly. Mrs. Holland was too upset to say much. Her eyes were wet, and she dabbed them with a tissue. Mrs. Boone looked at Elsa and Mr. Boone and said, "Mr. Holland posted bond this afternoon and was released from jail around 2. He's charged with assault and has a court date next week. He's been calling Mrs. Holland nonstop and leaving some messages that are threatening. It appears as though he's driving around town searching for his family." Mrs. Holland interrupted with, "And he's drinking, I can tell." Mrs. Boone nodded and continued, "I've talked to the police and they are looking for him. I have advised Mrs. Holland not to go home tonight and she agrees. There's a friend or two the family could possibly stay with, but her husband would probably find them. I've called the shelter and there's no available space, at least not for tonight." "So we have to hide?" Pete asked. "We're hiding now," his mother said. "I just want to go home," Sharon said, and began crying. "We can't go home," Pete said sharply. "What's the plan?" Mr. Boone asked. "I think we should go to our house and have a pizza party," Mrs. Boone replied. "We'll watch television and see what happens." "Great idea," Mr. Boone said. "I'll get the pizza," Elsa said, jumping to her feet. Sally looked at Mr. Boone and managed to smile. 2 hours later, the Boone's den was covered with quilts, pillows, and kids. The pizza was long gone. Sally huddled with her mother on the couch while Pete, Sharon, Theo, Elsa, and Judge were sprawled about the floor, all watching reruns of Everybody Loves Raymond. Mr. Boone was in his study reading a book, and Mrs. Boone eased from room to room, occasionally talking quietly on the phone in the kitchen. Theo met her there and whispered, "What's going on, Mom?" She whispered back, "The police have not been able to find Mr. Holland. They can't go home tonight. It's just too dangerous. He's probably drinking, probably drunk by now, and who knows what will happen. They'll have to stay here tonight." Theo understood, and he didn't mind protecting the family. But what about tomorrow? Mrs. Holland's parents live about 4 hours from here. That might be an option, maybe for a few days. The police will eventually find Mr. Holland and arrest him again for making threats. I'll probably go to court and ask the judge for a protective order. As of now, she says she wants to file for a divorce and get him out of the house. But that might not be so easy. I don't know, Theo. We'll just have to wait and see. Things could change by the hour. The important thing is to keep them safe. She's crazy if she doesn't get a divorce. It's never that easy, Theo, believe me. A lot of women put up with abuse because they think they have to. They can't afford to live without their husband and his job. I see this all the time. I'm not going to be a divorce lawyer. Let's talk about that later, okay? Sure, Mom. And thanks for doing this. I feel like I'm responsible. You did the right thing, Theo. Lawyers have to get involved in unpleasant cases to help people. Who else could help at this point? The police? And they're trying. You guys can sleep in the den and watch TV until late. Let's try and make it fun. Does this mean I can skip school tomorrow? It does not. And that is it for Chapter 3. Tune in tomorrow for Chapter 4. Thanks for joining me.